You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Are you fed up with the corporate bullshit holding you back? Welcome to Invest in Yourself, the digital entrepreneur podcast, the ultimate launchpad for entrepreneurs ready to seize control and unleash their creative genius. Hosted by Phil Better, the Podcast Mogul. Each week he's breaking the chains of conventional work with bold strategies, raw insights, and inspiring success stories from the digital entrepreneurs who took the risk and invested in themselves. This is your call to arms. Invest in yourself, break free from someone else's rules, and build the empire you deserve. Now let's dive headfirst into today's explosive episode.
Welcome back, listeners, to another exciting episode of Invest in Yourself, the digital entrepreneur podcast. I am, of course, your host with the most, Phil Better, and we got an episode that will not only inspire you, but also guide you on a journey of self-discovery and transformation. Today, we have a truly remarkable guest who believes in the power of honesty, authenticity, and compassionate listening. These three principles fuel her extraordinary coaching career. She's not only the type of coach that will hold your hand, who hands you a roadmap, words. Instead, she empowers you to discover your own path, helping you align your actions with your soul's deepest purpose. With over 3 decades of experience as a registered nurse, a master's degree in family health nursing, and a certification from the Brave Thinking Institute, she brings an unmatched level of wisdom, insight, and heart to her work. If that wasn't impressive enough, she also is a proud mother of 6 and grandmother to 11, which adds a whole new level of inspiration to her story. Like, I'm already gobsmacked, if you will. But from navigating life's twists and turns to helping others unlock their fullest potential, this is a guest who brings a truly holistic approach to the coaching world. She sees the whole person, body, mind, and spirit, and helps break down the barriers holding people back from living their best life, most authentic lives. So get ready to dive deep into wisdom and life-changing insights of today's guest, Sue Ellen Sweeney. Sue Ellen, thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you for having me, Phil. This is really an honor and a privilege. It sounds so good. I love how you said all that. I really appreciate the introduction.
It is my pleasure. When reading your bio, I could only make sure that I did it justice, because you have done a wonderful career helping people, not only as a registered nurse, but also as a coach. So it's my hat's off to you. I'm so excited to hear how you went from registered nurse to entrepreneur to coach and all the things you're doing. So without further ado, the best and most brightest question we ask here on the show is why? Why did you become an entrepreneur after being a registered nurse for so long?
Right. It's a process and a journey, and wisdom comes with age. So it's easier to reflect on it looking backward sometimes. I love my nursing career, and I really wanted to make a difference in a different way. Much of my career was in psychiatric mental health nursing. And I really understood that the strategies and tools that we have in that modality in the medical realm weren't as effective as I would like them to be. And I would rather be proactive in helping people live from their strengths, discover their strengths, see what potential they have, rather than, using some of the tools that psychiatry has to offer. So, yeah, that I, like serendipity does, a email landed in my inbox from Mary Morrissey's. It was called the Life Mastery Institute at the time, to consider being a dream builder coach. And I explored that. And it was just like, yes, deep down inside me, it was a yes, this is it. This is what I want to do. So I embarked on it with a big dream, which is what entrepreneurs do, right?
Yeah, we're big dreamers.
Enthusiasm and that excitement, and it, just lights you up, and that that's what you want to do. We have a need for contribution, and each person's contribution is unique. So when I touched on that, I was really excited and wanted to take that leap. So that's one aspect of it. Another aspect was I was starting to have grandchildren and wanted more flexibility in my life. More freedom, more flexibility, and it seemed to be a good fit.
I like that. It's there's a similar trend that I've seen through entrepreneurs, either interviewing them or following them on social media. The minute a new child comes into their life, be it if it's their own child or it's a grandchild, perspectives shift, because it's a new life. They get this new vision of, I have this, if it's my own child, I have to take care of this child. But with the grandparents or, the older generations, it's like, I have this opportunity to redo, to be the best version of ourselves. And for you, it's getting that freedom to be an entrepreneur and find that time to be able to spend with the grandkids and spoil them rotten. I'm presuming you spoiled them rotten as a grandmother.
Right. Like, it's just so much fun. Right. And a redo, like you say too, with more freedom to just have more fun with them.
Yeah. You're the parent without the responsibilities. I know my parents love being a grandparent because again, no responsibilities. I can feed them full of sugar and hand them off to mom, and she has to deal with them.
Yeah. And I love how you talked about the prospect of having a child and how much it changes your perspective, because that's exactly what I'd like to help people with, is in navigating that transition and making those decisions. So much comes up at that point of life for young people. There are so many questions and decisions and fears and concerns and anxieties about how that's going to affect their lives. And it does. I would love to help them stay out of stress and overwhelm and really be able to focus more on the joy and the potential that the parenting role brings.
And when you're doing that parenting, you're emphasizing so much, because you have to be honest, you have to be authentic, and there's some compassionateness in the listening of your coaching style. How do you get that? How do you foster that environment so that your clients can trust you and feel that safe to be able to be vulnerable and embrace that vulnerability that's necessary to make those leaps and bounds? Because we all know we have to go into that zone of discomfort, and doing it with someone else, that's a bigger zone of discomfort. So how do you foster that sense of it's okay to be vulnerable?
Right. That it's okay to have anxiety, that it's okay to have questions about what this is gonna do. I think part of it is normalizing it. Part of it is education and understanding about what this child needs, how having this child might affect your relationship with your partner, developmentally for yourself. What do you need to focus on? So a lot of it is education, and on the other hand, this creating safety is something that I've really gotten good at in psychiatric mental health nursing. I think it's really important to just accept people for who they are, where they are, no matter what they've done. Believe me, I have heard stories and deep vulnerability. So I can truly say that nothing shocks me. And the issues that come up in coaching really are so normal. They might feel very vulnerable for people who are expressing them for the first time and not used to sharing that type of information. So in conversation, that feels like a skill that's really been developed in myself, but also understanding that they need a safe container. I was just exploring this today. I would love to build a community of support for young parents. And I was considering, okay, do I do that on Facebook or in a more private, personal community on one of these platforms? And there's advantages and disadvantages to both. But when I considered it, I did consider the vulnerability piece and really decided that it would be feel more safe and connecting and intimate to have a community portal, where people can share more freely. So it has come up in my entrepreneurship journey, how to do that as well.
I love that. I love how you're evolving as you're helping your own clients evolve in the aspects that you've already hit, maybe a plateau, if you will. Maybe not. Plateau is not the greatest word for it, but you're at a level where they want to become that version of themselves and see it in yourself. And you're able to help guide them to avoid those pitfalls that sometimes we are bound to hit when we don't have that mentorship or coaching. How has your coaching evolved? Because you went from being a nurse, which is taking care of people, which is a very, very important job in society, especially we know how important it was only a few years ago when we had that amazing world event that we all love to talk about. And then going into, transitioning, because that's a transition from taking care of people physically and mentally in the mental institutions that you worked at. And I know that's maybe not politically correct, and I apologize.
That's okay. Yeah,
okay.
That's okay. Understood.
And then moving into being more vulnerable with people who are young parents who may not be at the same level. Like, it's a different vulnerability that they have. How is your coaching, or maybe how is your touch with dealing with those realities changed over the time, and have you faced issues and challenges?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. And you know what is coming up for me is my own vulnerability, honestly.
Yeah.
There's more vulnerability in the role of coach versus in doing the marketing and everything else that comes with it than my role as a nurse, who can show up with a uniform, carry out the role and go home and put my other clothes on. It's an interesting shift. So my personal growth has been vital. My investment in myself, here I'm looking right at your title, Invest in Yourself. My investment in myself has been paramount in importance. If I didn't do the work, I couldn't lead and guide other people. You have to be, if you're going up a mountain, a guide on the mountain has to navigate that terrain before you can take anybody else up that terrain. So that's been something that has really been fascinating to me, and I can say rewarding. I mean, really rewarding. Navigating, like you said, those days of COVID was, when I was really getting started in my coaching career. Actually, I'll be vulnerable here. was diagnosed with cancer at the same time.
Oof.
So, yeah, navigating those vulnerabilities and changes and challenges in my life, and really needing to utilize the tools that I've learned through my coaching trainings got me through. And I can say for sure that I know these are powerful tools because I've really, come through it in a very strong, healthy way through all these challenges.
I love that. Oh, speaking, since you did touch on investing in yourself, and it is the central theme of the podcast. What have you done, or what have you implemented into your daily routine, if you will, that helps you invest in yourself to become the best version of yourself, and something that you would suggest the audience do as well?
I would say the most a very, very powerful tool that I would suggest for anyone, and I will be teaching any parents this tool, is mindfulness. Mindfulness in the everyday activities and moments of life. So that's one. And I can, I have a new coaching program called Positive Intelligence that integrates mindfulness in little periods of time. So it's not like a mindfulness meditation exercise. It's something you can do in a meeting or when you're looking at your child who's screaming or throwing up or whatever. So mindfulness and knowing how to manage yourself is something and your own emotions is something that is critical. And I've grown in that. I say personal growth is a journey and you never get to the end, right? So I'm continually working on that. Personally, for me, meditation and prayer has been a foundation of my daily practice. And, as a nurse and somebody who has had health challenges as well, really understanding and integrating health practices, exercise and nutrition and sleep. So some of the real basics have really been helpful for me. And I guide people in helping them make it simple, to try to simplify it, because there's so much out there.
Yeah.
If you start exploring personal growth, and for a while I just got sucked into all these programs, and I took a lot of programs. I really have taken a lot of programs. I'd say I'm a serial learner, and that has helped me as well. So the learning and the education in personal growth as well. So what did I say? Mindfulness, meditation, wellness practices, and ongoing learning and education.
I love it. And those are great because I believe that we're students for life. We're beings, so we live in the being and we learn. And I think those are the foundations of being a great person, becoming a better version of yourself. It's just being mindful of everything, meditating, right, keeping yourself healthy, and you'll see a great life. I want to know, what kind of legacy do you want to leave for the future? Like I snap 10 years in the future, we can look at that. But what do you want to leave behind?
That is a good question. I'd say my 6 children and my grandchildren are my legacy for sure. And I couldn't do any better than that. In who they are, and I'm so proud of them. Beyond that, I also have understood that I have a personal need for contribution. And as I see that now, I see myself as being contributing to a movement and a shift in how humans parent their children. And that movement is helping people to parent more consciously, to be more conscious in deciding how they want to relate to their children, how they want to create their families, rather than being in their subconscious and unconscious programming, which most of us are, truly. I have learned that most of us are in a subconscious, unconscious mode.
I want to know, because this is a question that you put down that you love answering, and I'm totally curious about this. But what is it that you love about being a mother?
In my experience of being a mother, I will say, so that's a hard one, that even if I love answering it, there's too much, but I have to break it down. When the child is born, something happens. Like, there's this soul connection, this outpouring of love and emotion and connection that's just indescribable. The journey continues. I mean, that connection continues. I have grown more in being a mother than any other challenge that I faced in life. And part of that is experiencing emotions to a degree that I never knew I could, including anger and frustration and overwhelm and stress and all those, negative emotions, but also, the joy and the just overwhelming gratitude, that these beings are in my life and are gifted to me. So that the whole experience of motherhood has been really, really powerful for me. I think that's why I get really sad when I hear young people feeling overwhelmed and fearful of bringing children into the world because of circumstances. My personal belief is that the positives far outweigh the challenges. And it doesn't have to be as complicated as they might think it is. That they are equipped at a certain level. Every mother, every father is equipped at a certain level to raise that child. And, getting in tune with that and getting in touch with that is a journey and a process that I'd love to help them and guide them through. That was long, wasn't it?
It was long, but I appreciate it because there was so much in it that the audience can take away from that I may miss and not follow up on. But also, I love how you were saying that it was you had those highs, you had those lows, but even those lows were high for you because of the miracle of having this child in your life and those feelings. You would be able to see how deep the well of emotions can be. With transitioning from nursing, which is, like you stated before, there's like a barrier because you have a uniform on. It's not you. There's safety. You can take it off at the end of the day. With going into coaching, you're wearing more of your authentic self. You're wearing your skin pretty much. There isn't a uniform to put on. What was it like for you? Because I know for a lot of people starting out, it's scary because they're taking off that mask that they wore for so long. Did you have something to deal with when you were taking off that nurse's mask and you were putting on, or, revealing your true coach face to the world? Like what fears did you have and how did you go about dealing with those?
Right. Yeah, I'm remembering really clearly, honestly, showing up to BNI. Business networking was one of my first steps to really put myself out there. And I was terrified. I was just terrified. I had to explain to these, business people in my community who I was and how I wanted to serve people. I had to actually learn to articulate this and stand up in front of people, which was a fear, huge fear of mine, to stand up in front of people and talk, especially about myself. So that was the hugest fear for me, the greatest fear. And again, the greatest learning curve. I know you were bringing up, the highs and the lows. And it is true that in our lows, we just stretch and grow the most. And when we're challenged like that, we have to find another way. We have to be, get creative and find a way to navigate that and grow into, who we're wanting and dreaming into being.
When a new client comes to you and they've signed up, they've done their preliminary work, what are some of the primarily the issues that you see probably pop up the most that are very simple wins that the audience, like, they can go, oh, I have that, duh. And maybe give them a way to get that quick, simple win for them?
Oh, wow. That is a good question, because I'm a big picture thinker, and I was thinking, helping them to design their vision for their life, that is not a simple win, right?
No, that's a multi-layered win.
Okay. But breaking it down is really, really important. So understanding that, every mountain you're climbing, it takes one step after the next, and it's just to focus on that one step and celebrating that one step, but to hold the vision and to take that step. So I can say it's unique. The wins are unique depending on where they're going or where they're deciding to go or what their goals are. But it is in celebrating the simple wins. And as a coach, being there to support them in that and to celebrate and to say, yes, this is a big deal. You're on your way. You might not see this as a big deal, but it's evidence that you are showing up and you're taking action and you're going in the direction you want to go with your life. So even if each step is accompanied by fear, if it's something we've never done before, it's really, really important to have support in taking that step and to celebrate those small accomplishments and wins.
I love that. Because it is important to, I've had to learn to, because I'm a big picture thinker as well, and I have to remember to win. Those small little wins are so important, and it's like you use mountains a lot. I've noticed in your metaphors and your stories, and I'm wondering. I'm guessing that's because you're a hiker and a biker. You're out in the nature so much. Does those personal hobbies that you have and connecting with nature, do you find that it influences your coaching style or inspire you to help your clients navigate their own challenges?
I do believe it does. We are a part of nature. I love nature metaphors. I've learned to even communicate with nature in a deeper way as I've gotten older and notice things in a more, with more wonder and, joy and, appreciation for what nature is, and really understanding the oneness of all of it. So no matter what so how does it influence my coaching? It informs me mostly that what this person is doing, and if I can help them bring themselves more fully to the world, that's going to contribute to everything, no matter how small they think it is or how small it might look. A person's dream might be to start gardening. They've never done that before, but creating a garden that's beautiful for people to look at, or maybe share some flowers, that's going to contribute to the whole of the world and to beauty and to joy in a way that only they can when they're tapping into their innate desires. Does that all make sense?
It does. It does. And I'm pretty sure it's going to resonate with the people that it needs to resonate with, which what I love about this podcast, because it goes to the people that need too. And for those who are listening and haven't seen the video, behind Sue Ellen is this beautiful picture of a river that's just flowing, and it's very peaceful, and it's putting me at very much at ease. Sue Ellen, this is because I love rivers, and they're so peaceful, and they're just transformative for over time. Obviously they can do erosion and all that, but it's a constant moving, constant evolution. And with your evolving from your youth to now, transitioning, of course, from a registered nurse to what you're doing now, I want to go back to your 10-year-old self, because we are coming to the end of the episode, which I hate. I'm having a great time chatting with.
No, we could talk about rivers. We could talk about the metaphor of personal growth and rivers. We'll do that some other time.
We'll have you back on, and we'll make sure it's going to be called the River episode. But I have your 10-year-old self here, Sue Ellen. I would love to know, what advice would you like to pass back to your 10-year-old self?
Oh, I do an exercise with clients looking at a photo of their self as a child and recognizing and understanding their beauty and their purity, and how you wouldn't want to judge that little person. So I would tell her to not be so hard on herself, because that is a 10-year-old is the age where children do start to get really self-critical and to have more importance in social relationships and do a lot of comparing of themselves to other people. Expectations feel harder, maybe from family. So I would encourage my 10-year-old self to stay in the joy and the wonder of the things I love doing and play more. To just, regardless of, what anybody else is saying, that play is really valuable. And, not to forget how to play and to be free in who I am as a beautiful divine creation of God.
I love it. Oh my God. I love it. Great advice, Sue Ellen. I'm going to have to take a moment and really place that into my psyche here. I'm going to jump off stage, let you have the last little bit. Please tell my audience where they can find you, follow you, work with you if they're new parents looking to get rid of that anxiety and start upgrading to become a better version of the parent that they should be. So the floor is yours.
All right. Well, thank you. This has been really a nice conversation. If you're interested in following me or working with me, you can find me on LinkedIn. You would search Sue Ellen Sweeney. I'm on there quite often. I do have a website. It is SueEllen.live. You can also email me at SueEllenLifeCoach@gmail.com. And search me on Instagram as well, Sue Ellen Sweeney. But I'd love to support you. And I encourage you to remember to play, to have fun, to celebrate life in any way that it's presenting itself to you, understanding that challenges are an opportunity for growth, and children are precious and beautiful and a gift. So if you're having a hard time embracing family life, you are exactly who I want to work with.
Love that, Sue Ellen. Thank you so much for being here. It was my pleasure to chat with you and have you on the podcast. I appreciate you spending the time with me.
Thank you. Thank you for being here and for the work that you're doing, encouraging people to invest in themselves. We're on the same page there for sure.
There we are. To my audience, make sure you check out the show notes down below to connect with Sue Ellen and make sure that you can become the parent that you deserve. Because like she said, our children are divineness and we need to encourage them to grow as well. So I thank you for listening, Sue Ellen. Thank you again for being here. It was a pleasure. And as always, remember to invest in yourself.
Thanks for joining us on Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. The Podcast Mogul reminds you that your journey to freedom and success starts with one powerful move: investing in yourself. If today's episode sparked your fire, hit that follow button on Spotify and drop us a comment. Share your wins, your challenges, and what drives you to break free from the corporate grind. Remember, you're your best investment. Always invest in yourself because your potential is limitless. Until next time, keep hustling and take control of your destiny.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.